If someone you love leaves you their tools, what would you do with them? Would you clean them up and put them on display? Would you store them away untouched? Sometimes the answer to that is easy. Sometimes, though, it's much harder. My dad left me machines like my grandfather's Atlas lathe that my dad beat the crud out of. I've already restored that. Then there's the horizontal mill I still need to restore. He left me a toolbox and hand tools. He even left me my grandfather's machinist toolbox. But these carving tools are over 120 years old. My great-great-grandfather used them. I don't know what my great-grandfather or grandfather did with them, but my dad left them just like this. So I've wrestled with this question. Do you preserve them or use them? Today I'm choosing to use them, and hopefully learning something new in the process. Before I can start carving, I'm going to need a new workbench to carve on. A carving bench is typically set higher than a woodworking bench like mine. From what I understand, it's normally around elbow height, but rather than just building something that high, I'm going to start with a quick and dirty prototype just to check how high I want this. I'm going to be building a workbench that sits on top of my existing workbench, and this prototype is basically just a box in a box with a couple height adjustment screws. I routed out a couple slots in the outer box, and then the inner box will get a couple threaded inserts, and I'll just use a couple of bolts to tighten the height adjustment where I want it, and then measure my overall height. Work holding on this prototype will be accomplished with a couple short pipe clamps and this 3D printed mount. This is the easiest way I could think of to be able to clamp something down long enough to do a little test carving. The idea is that the workpiece will just clamp in the pipe clamps, which should also be low enough to not get in the way while I'm carving. After testing out a couple height settings, I found out that I didn't actually need the height adjustment on the prototype at all. The lowest height turned out to be perfect. With my basic dimensions figured out, I could move on to the actual bench build. I'm making this bench out of scraps I have from other projects, and that starts with a couple pieces of walnut I had left over from my entry table build. I did the usual jointing and planing, and then cut the pieces down to size. The design for this workbench is pretty simple. I'll have two long sides that will act as a base, and two cross members that will attach to the top. I'm using half-lap joinery to connect them, and after marking out the joinery, I'll cut it out at the table saw. Now, similar to my moccasin vise, I'm building this bench to be able to clamp down on top of my normal bench, and I'll do that with a couple extensions off the sides. This will just give enough surface for the clamps to be able to lock down and stabilize the bench. I don't know how, but I lost my footage of drilling out the dog holes in the top. I spaced the holes 4 inches apart, starting 2 inches in from the outer edge, and I drilled them out in my drill press, but it couldn't get all the way to the center of the board. Now I don't really need any holes there anyway, so that was fine. The top itself is an offcut of some butcher block I bought to use on the bench for the lathe when I restored that. And this store-bought butcher block actually worked really well for both things. Now I still needed to mark out and drill for the threaded inserts, so that's what I'm doing here. The butcher block had some finish on it that I needed to remove before I could apply the new finish. Now, I said in my desk build that I'm not a fan of hard wax oils on furniture, but for shop furniture, and some other things for that matter, I think it's perfect. I used Rubio's walnut color finish for the base and the natural finish for the top, and I really love how both turned out. Now, I'd like to take a minute to tell you about the man that left me these tools. There's a reason he had so many tools to leave me. My dad was always working on one project or another for as long as I can remember. He once entered a one-day boat building contest with his friend where they had a single day to build a boat and test it by taking it out on the water, and they won that one. My dad was a pilot. That wasn't what he did for a living. That's who he was to his core. His love for working with his hands and his love for flying usually overlapped. He was an aviation mechanic well known for his skill and his knowledge. He loved rebuilding old planes like the Saranka Chief he rebuilt when I was in high school. Then a few short years ago, we found out he had Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's robbed my dad of all the things that defined him. Flying, rebuilding planes, making furniture. My dad fought hard. He never missed a physical therapy session and took it all seriously, no matter how silly he felt. My brothers and I tried to spend time with him doing the things that he loved while he still could, but it took less than 3 years after his diagnosis before we lost him. Parkinson sucks. So now I have these tools. They've made it through generations. It's time for me to take the baton. I'm starting out with a traditional acanthus leaf carving. This one isn't my design, it's one of Chris Pye's that he made available for free on his channel. And I glued the pattern to the wood with a glue stick and then cut it out on a scroll saw that my dad also left me. I'm not starting with my great-great-grandfather's tools either. I figured it was much smarter to get a couple new chisels and then start with them, and then I'll start using the more fragile, older tools once I'm a little bit more comfortable. I've been going down the YouTube rabbit hole with carving, getting prepared for this, and while I have some of the basics, this is still definitely a learning project for me. One of the things I picked up was this method for securing the carving to a workpiece. It's called the paper sandwich, and you basically thin out some wood glue and glue the paper to the back of the carving and then down to the workpiece. It makes the carving easy-ish to release, but it has a better hold than the blue tape trick. I'm hoping to release this video in time for Father's Day this year. And thinking back to my dad, and the thing that hits me the hardest is how he lost his mobility. Besides sharing his love for working with my hands, I'm also very active. My love for running started when I was in the Army, but it's stuck with me ever since. And my youngest daughter, Eve, has followed in my footsteps, pardon the pun. And this November, we're teaming up to raise some money for the Parkinson's Foundation. My family is in South Jersey, and we'll be headed home to run the Philly Half Marathon in my dad's honor. I don't have sponsors on this channel, and I don't have a Patreon. But if you'd like to support my channel, I'd be honored if you would consider donating to our fundraiser. There's a link in the description, and any amount would help. And my daughter and I and my whole family would thank you if you can afford to donate even just a few dollars. At this point, I was getting pretty comfortable with the carving tools, and I decided it was time to switch to my great-great-grandfather's tools. I'm not going to lie, this was a little nerve-wracking. I knew none of these tools I picked were in any danger of breaking, but it was still in the back of my mind the whole time. The history of these tools is still just a little overwhelming for me. My great-great-grandfather's name was Ernest, and his initials or name is marked on almost every gouge or V-groove tool. I also have some of his carvings. He was pretty incredible. As for me, for this carving, I'm not trying to make a showpiece. This was practice for me, and I'm going to leave it a little bit rough. I'm definitely going to come back to this and hopefully get much better. But for today, I'm happy to just continue on with the legacy. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. The link to our Parkinson's fundraiser is in the description. Please consider donating anything you can. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.